have some of these Rex begonia leaves that I want to show you how to propagate them via like the veins of the leaves. I have a little tub here of perlite. Many different mediums you can use while you're propagating. I like perlite over sphagnum moss sometimes because when these begonias put out roots, their roots are so fine, and to get the sphagnum moss off the roots is going to damage the roots. So whereas in the perlite, you can just take the plant out, put it directly in soil, and there won't be like any root touching to get the perlite off, because perlite is already in the soil. So like it's less invasive, I guess I would call it. You can propagate these via like water propagation. However, I do it. I'm guilty of it. I don't mind doing it because there are some plants that aesthetically you can display in a propagation vessel and they'll put on lots of growth and still look good doing it. Rex begonias don't. Like their leaf dies off very quickly, and the stem might still be viable. The stem might still put out roots, but the leaf will die off and it just doesn't look good. I do put them in my propagation stations because it's almost like a cut flower. Like you go cut a flower, it has a very short shelf life in a vase. I do recommend Rex begonias kind of being propagated this way in a container and just kind of tucked away out of the view because they're not pretty once the leaves kind of die off. Basically, you want a vein, and like, so like all these are like little veins in here. So I like to use the big ones, like 1, 2, there's one right here, 4, 5, 6. So I'm gonna cut in between all of those, and actually I'm gonna cut this off of here, and then it just gives me this. So this right here will put out roots and leaves out of those veins, and that was just like cut around the stem. So I'm just gonna set this in my perlite. Not necessarily putting the stem into the perlite, I'm just setting it on top there. I'm just gonna cut in between all of those big veins that I showed you. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're gonna cut these again. If you're seeing this video, I already have an update and it will be at the end of this situation. Because I didn't want to do this and then you go chop up your Rex begonia and it not work. So I wanted to show you with success, because they can be a little finicky. So I cut in between all of those veins here, and I'm actually going to cut again horizontally, like across it. So I have like more. You can't have too many. And then you see there's also nodes on here. So we're going to throw these nodes in here. One node right here, one node right here, and then I'm just going to cut it right in the middle. Same thing right here. There's a node right here. I'm going to cut that. Then there's 2 nodes. I'm just going to leave these together. Whatever survives, survives. I'm just going to put them in here. I'm not going to try to set them up. So I'm going to cut that stem off. And then I'm going to cut right around here. Just like that, right around there. Of all these cuttings, I think this part of the cuttings will probably survive more than any of the other ones. I'm not even going to cut these in half. I'm going to leave them big like this. The humidity is what's going to really get these leaves going. It's what's going to make the roots start going. All right, so I'm just throwing these in here willy-nilly. This is what it looks like. Literally a bunch of leaves. And that's it. I'm going to pop this lid on. Pop this lid on. I do want to note the water. So I did fill the water, see the water line? I'm tilting this. So you don't want the water line above the perlite. I like to put the water line right under the perlite because I don't want these leaves touching the water. The leaves are okay to touch the perlite, It's more or less just like a medium to hold on to moisture so that there's plenty of moisture within the container. It has been 2 months and looky here. So quite a few of those old leaves have just died off. I'm just gonna remove them. Try to get you like a closer look here. You can see like all those leaves there are all new leaves from the leaves that were just cut. Maybe I can bring one out to show. So this perlite just hanging on there, I'm just gonna leave it, but you can see the old leaf right here. I'm holding on to an old leaf, and you can see like that's where new leaves come out at. That's really cool. I've never really I've successfully had them grow like that, but not successfully transplanted them, because I think I've always kept them in their propagation thing for too long. So I'm actually gonna pot them up today. I'm gonna try to get them all in one pot. It might be overkill, but I also don't anticipate for all of them to survive. So at least if a few of them survive, I'll be happy with that. I am using the Naked Root Planters, which I've talked a lot about them. I think it's still too early to tell if I love them. I don't know. I've never really used self-watering containers, and I know they don't really, these aren't self-watering containers, but like very similar. And I've only used pond, so I'm actually going to use soil in them for the begonias. So I want to try that method. So this is like the inside of it. I'm gonna put soil in here, maybe about halfway. And then I'm going to just pop these out. I'm gonna grab them. One was the one I just showed you. I just grabbed it by that leaf. And I'm just gonna gently set it on top of the soil. You can see the old leaf. Maybe I'll grab them by the old leaf. That's the old leaf. And then you can see like the new leaf growing right out of the vein. And all the fine roots there, I don't want to touch the roots. They have very fragile roots, and I just don't want to touch them. And I'm just putting it in here like this. So I'm gonna go around and do that. I'm just gonna grab it by the old leaf, like this, and just set them in here gently. Just stack them right next to each other. This is a good one. You can see I'm holding on to the old leaf, and then there's new growth there, and then the roots just hanging around. They're cute little leaves. When I'm putting it in here, I am just kind of having the old ugly leaves just hang around. That's gonna be very temporary. I think once I know that these have started rooting into the soil, I'll just cut them off. It's a process. And honestly, this is the first time I've done this process like this. So I'm just kind of winging it. I'm doing what makes sense in my head. This is a good one. This one hanging around here is actually just a node from the Rex Begonia. So I'm just gonna pop that in here. Another just node. All right, so I think I got all of them out of here that are something. This is what I'm left with. I was going to put soil on top in between here, but I think like soil's down here, and then there's a layer of the perlite that has all their roots in it. I think I'm just gonna leave it like this. I'm gonna water it in really well. I'm gonna keep it in a space where I can watch it. I'm not gonna put it on one of these shelves for it to dry out so much that they all die off. I'm gonna put it on my counter so I can watch it, make sure it does not dry out, and I'm gonna see what happens. This is gonna be another time where there's gonna be a third update, but this is where we're at right now. This is after 2 months. So maybe I will check back in 2 more months to see where we're at. Maybe even sooner. I have really high hopes for this. I'll see you soon.